There's a city where retirees are leaving at rates not seen in decades, where the average home insurance premium hit $7,562 in 2026, where the condo market shed $109 billion in value in a single month, where hurricane assessments have produced six-figure special bills, and where the marketing brochure still describes it as the perfect place to retire. The city is Miami, and it's not even alone on this list. Across America, the retirement migration story of 2026 has been quieter and stranger than the headlines suggest. Not the boom that dominated 2020 to 2022 when retirees flocked to Sunbelt destinations. The reversal. The cities where retirees are packing up and moving to different markets, where the carrying costs have separated from fixed retirement incomes, and where the retirement migration model that anchored the growth story has broken down. According to Census Bureau Vintage 2025 estimates released in March 2026, several major American cities experienced sharp increases in outmigration among residents aged 65 and older. According to Redfin analysis, high flood risk areas of the United States recorded a net domestic outflow of 29,027 people in 2024, with retirees disproportionately represented in the outflow. According to Insurance.com carrier filings, home insurance premiums have climbed 50% to 90% in specific markets since 2022, separating retirement budgets from carrying costs. According to United Van Line's migration data, retiree relocations to secondary markets have expanded substantially in 2024 and 2025, as traditional retirement destinations have priced out fixed-income households. And underneath those numbers, the daily reality is not subtle. Retirees selling homes. Retirees relocating to lower-cost secondary markets. Retirees leaving states where they had lived for decades. Retirees choosing children's cities in the Carolinas over the traditional Sunbelt. In this countdown, we're exposing 10 American cities. Retirees are leaving in record numbers. One city on this list recorded the worst high flood risk domestic outflow in America. Another has retirement carrying costs that separated from fixed retirement incomes years ago. A third experienced sustained retirement outmigration for reasons the local conversation still describes as temporary. Subscribe before your city's next census update. Let's break it down. Number 10, Boston, Massachusetts. The hub of the universe, where the income required to afford a median home reached $190,858, where property taxes have compounded against fixed retirement incomes, and where retirees are relocating to New Hampshire and Florida in sustained numbers. There's a city where the income required to afford a median home reached $190,850 in Q4 2025, where property taxes have compounded against fixed retirement incomes, where insurance costs have climbed alongside broader Northeast trends, and where retirement outmigration to New Hampshire and Florida has been sustained for years. Welcome to Boston. The numbers. Boston Metro income required for median home purchase reached $190,858 in Q4 2025 per Visual Capitalist. Boston property tax burden has compounded against fixed retirement incomes. Boston insurance costs have climbed alongside broader Northeast trends. Boston retirement outmigration to New Hampshire and Florida has been sustained. What it's like. Living in Boston as a retiree is like dating someone with prestigious connections whose lifestyle costs slightly more than you can sustainably afford. Picture this. You're a 71-year-old Boston retiree in 2026. Your property tax climbed alongside the reassessment cycle. Your insurance premium climbed 24% over 3 years. Your daughter has been suggesting Charlotte for 2 years. You're starting to run the math seriously. Where it gets uncomfortable. Boston's structural problem is that the cost of aging in place has separated from fixed retirement income assumptions the previous generation made. The property taxes climbed. The insurance climbed. The healthcare costs climbed. The migration to lower-cost destinations follows the math. Sharp contrast. Boston and Charlotte tell two stories. Charlotte has absorbed Northeast retirement migration in significant volume. Boston has been the source of the migration Charlotte has absorbed. Number 9. Seattle, Washington. The Emerald City, where the income required to afford a median home reached $145,000, where insurance costs have climbed, and where retirees who bought before the tech boom are cashing out. There's a city where the income required to afford a median home reached approximately $145,000 in Q4 2025, where home prices have climbed 42% between 2020 and 2024, where retirees who bought before the tech boom are cashing out, and where the outflow to Idaho, Arizona, and North Carolina has been documented. Welcome to Seattle. The numbers. Seattle metro income required for median home purchase reached approximately $145,000 in Q4 2025. Seattle metro home prices climbed approximately 42% between 2020 and 2024. Seattle retirees who bought before the tech boom have accumulated substantial home equity to cash out. Seattle retirement outmigration to Idaho, Arizona, and North Carolina has been documented. What it's like. Living in Seattle as a retiree is like dating someone in tech whose entire ecosystem was rebuilt for a different generation. Picture this. You're a 72-year-old Seattle retiree in 2026. You bought your home in 1988 for $145,000. Your home value reached $1.2 million by 2024. Your property tax and carrying costs consume increasing shares of your fixed retirement income. Your daughter moved to Boise in 2023. You're joining her in 2026. Where it gets uncomfortable. Seattle's structural problem is that the tech-driven appreciation gave retirees substantial home equity to relocate, and increasing carrying costs made staying less attractive than moving. The equity is real. The carrying costs are rising. The math favors relocation. Sharp contrast. Seattle and Boise are both Pacific Northwest adjacent cities. Boise has attracted Seattle retirees for over a decade. Seattle has been the source of the migration Boise has absorbed. Number 8. Denver, Colorado. The mile-high city where insurance carriers have reduced wildfire coverage, where property tax assessments have climbed, and where retirees who moved during the pandemic are reversing course. There's a city where statewide home values are down 4.3% year over year, where wildfire insurance carriers have reduced coverage in multiple counties since 2023, where property tax assessments have climbed across the Front Range, and where retirees who moved during the pandemic have started reversing course. Welcome to Denver. The numbers. Denver metro home values are down approximately 4.3% year over year per Zillow. Denver, Colorado wildfire insurance carriers have reduced coverage in multiple counties since 2023. Denver property tax assessments have climbed across the Front Range as reassessment cycles caught up. Denver retirement outmigration to Arizona and Florida has been documented in 2024 to 2025. What it's like. Living in Denver as a retiree is like dating someone outdoorsy and gorgeous whose monthly expenses you didn't fully understand until you moved in. Picture this. You're a 68-year-old Denver retiree in 2026. You moved from Chicago in 2020. Your home value has dropped 4% since 2022. Your insurance premium climbed 28% in 2025. Your property tax assessment came in higher than expected. You're researching Arizona for the second time in 3 years. Where it gets uncomfortable. Denver's structural problem is the layered cost increase that retirees did not model when they relocated. The home value plateaued. The insurance kept climbing. The property tax kept climbing. The retirees who moved in 2020 are running new math. Sharp contrast. Denver and Phoenix are both Sunbelt adjacent cities. Phoenix has continued to attract retirees from Denver. Denver has been the source of the reversal migration Phoenix has absorbed. Hey, before we get into the top 7, the cities we're about to cover are the ones where the retirement migration reversal has been most extensively documented in Census Bureau Vintage 2025 estimates in Redfin flood risk migration data and in Insurance.com carrier filings. If this list has been useful, hit subscribe because the next one is 10 American cities where the property tax bill just doubled. Like the video if you know a retiree who left a Sunbelt destination. Drop a comment if you or your parents are considering leaving your retirement city. Now let's keep going. Number 7. Portland, Oregon. The City of Roses, where the retirement migration narrative has been quietly replaced by structural cost pressure, and where retirees are reversing course towards secondary markets. There's a city where the income required to afford a median home crossed $140,000, where the metro area added multiple municipalities to the $1 million starter home list since 2020, where the retirement carrying costs have climbed substantially, and where the outflow to Boise and other secondary markets has been documented. Welcome to Portland. The numbers. Portland metro income required for median home purchase reached approximately $140,000 in Q4 2025. Portland metro home prices climbed approximately 60% between 2019 and 2024. Portland retirement carrying costs have climbed substantially against fixed income. Portland retirement outmigration to Boise, Reno, and secondary markets has been documented. What it's like. Living in Portland as a retiree is like dating someone with strong opinions about sustainability whose everyday expenses keep climbing. Picture this. You're a 69-year-old Portland retiree in 2026. Your property tax and insurance costs have compounded. Your neighbor at the community center mentioned selling. Your daughter suggested Boise last month. You're starting to run the math, where it gets uncomfortable. Portland's structural problem is that climate-driven relocation drove demand while carrying costs climbed, and retirees who moved in the pandemic era face structural math that no longer works. The demand kept arriving. The carrying costs kept climbing. The retirees who arrived early are relocating. Sharp contrast. Portland and Boise are both Pacific Northwest adjacent cities. Boise has attracted Portland retirees at sustained rates. Portland has been the source of the migration Boise has absorbed. Number 6. Los Angeles, California. The City of Angels, where retirees are leaving in sustained numbers, where insurance carriers have exited, and where the Palisades fire of January 2025 added a climate dimension to structural pressures. There's a city where sustained retirement outmigration has been documented for over a decade, where State Farm and Allstate stopped issuing new home policies in California in 2022 to 2023, where the Palisades fire destroyed over 6,000 structures, and where the retirement carrying costs have separated from fixed retirement income. Welcome to Los Angeles. The numbers. Los Angeles has experienced sustained retirement outmigration for over a decade per Census Bureau data. Los Angeles State Farm and Allstate stopped issuing new home policies in California in 2022-2023. Los Angeles retirement outmigration to Nevada, Arizona, and Texas has been sustained. What it's like. Living in Los Angeles as a retiree is like dating someone glamorous whose fixed costs keep multiplying while your fixed income stays the same. Picture this. You're a 73-year-old Los Angeles retiree in 2026. Your car insurance climbed 22% over 2 years. Your home insurance is under review after multiple non-renewal notices in your neighborhood. Your friend moved to Phoenix in 2023. Your daughter relocated to Charlotte and is asking you to consider joining her. Where it gets uncomfortable. Los Angeles' structural problem is the convergence of sustained cost pressure, wildfire risk, and insurance carrier exits. The costs kept climbing. The wildfire risk was reassessed. The insurance carriers stopped writing new policies. The retirees who could relocate did so. Sharp contrast. Los Angeles and Phoenix are Sunbelt neighbors. Phoenix has continued to attract Los Angeles retirees. Los Angeles has been the source of the retirement migration Phoenix has absorbed. Number 5. Chicago, Illinois. The Windy City, where retirees are leaving in record numbers, where the fiscal deterioration has been the most extensively documented in America, and where the property tax pressure has compounded against fixed retirement incomes. There's a city where the fiscal gap reached $41.1 billion in 2024, where the taxpayer burden reached $42,600 per resident, where property tax bills have climbed for 6 consecutive years, and where retirement outmigration to Tennessee, the Carolinas, and Florida has been sustained. Welcome to Chicago. The numbers. Chicago fiscal gap reached $41.1 billion in 2024 per Truth in Accounting. Chicago taxpayer burden reached $42,600 per resident. Chicago property tax bills have climbed for 6 consecutive years. Chicago retirement outmigration to Tennessee, the Carolinas, and Florida has been sustained. Reddit quote, Chicago is the city where the property taxes climb every year, the fiscal gap grows every year, and the retirees who could leave started leaving in earnest around 2020 and have not stopped. What it's like. Living in Chicago as a retiree is like dating someone with charming energy, a great personality, and $40 billion in credit card debt they refuse to discuss. Picture this. You're a 71-year-old Chicago retiree in 2026. Our property tax bill climbed for the 6th consecutive year. Your neighbor at the community center accepted an early retirement package. Your friend moved to Nashville in 2023. Your daughter relocated to Charlotte and is asking you to consider joining her. Where it gets uncomfortable. Chicago's structural problem is that the pension obligations have compounded for decades, and the property tax structure has passed the cost to residents, including retirees, on fixed incomes. The property tax climbs. The fixed income does not. The migration to lower-cost destinations follows the math. Sharp contrast. Chicago and Nashville tell 2 stories. Nashville carries a taxpayer surplus. Chicago carries $42,600 per resident burden. Same country, very different retirement outcomes. Number 4. New York, New York. The Empire State Capital, where retirees have been leaving in sustained numbers, where property costs have compounded, and where the retirement outmigration to Florida, the Carolinas, and Tennessee has been documented. There's a city where sustained retirement outmigration has been documented for years, where property taxes and cost of living have compounded against fixed retirement incomes, where the fiscal architecture ranked worst in Truth in Accounting's Financial State of the Cities 2026, and where the retirement outflow to Florida, the Carolinas, and Tennessee has been sustained. Welcome to New York. The numbers. New York City ranked worst on Truth in Accounting's Financial State of the Cities 2026. New York property taxes and cost of living have compounded against fixed retirement incomes. New York retirement outmigration to Florida, the Carolinas, and Tennessee has been sustained. New York median home price and rent have separated from fixed retirement income assumptions. What it's like. Living in New York as a retiree is like dating someone with prestigious connections, whose bills keep arriving at rates you did not budget for. Picture this. You're a 74-year-old New York City retiree in 2026. Your property tax bill climbed alongside city budget pressure. Your neighbor at the community center mentioned that programming has been reduced. Your friend moved to South Carolina in 2023. Your daughter relocated to Charlotte and is asking you to consider joining her. Where it gets uncomfortable. New York's structural problem is that the cost of aging in place has separated from fixed retirement income assumptions the previous generation made. The property tax climbs. The healthcare climbs. The everyday costs climb. The migration to lower-cost destinations follows the math. Sharp contrast. New York and Charlotte tell 2 stories. Charlotte has absorbed New York retirement migration in significant volume. New York has been the source of the migration Charlotte has absorbed. Number 3. Phoenix, Arizona, the Valley of the Sun, where the retirement migration model that anchored modern Phoenix has reversed, and where climate intensity, water uncertainty, and home value decline have converged against fixed retirement incomes. There's a city where Arizona home values dropped 6.8% year over year in 2025, the steepest statewide decline in America, where Phoenix recorded over 70 days above 110 degrees in summer 2024, where the Colorado River water allocation continues to face structural pressure, and where retirees who moved in 2020-2022 are reversing course. Welcome to Phoenix. The numbers. Arizona home values dropped 6.8% year over year in 2025, the steepest statewide decline per Zillow. Phoenix recorded over 70 days above 110 degrees in summer 2024, the most on record. Arizona-Colorado River water allocation continues to face Tier 1 shortage pressure. Phoenix retirees who moved in 2020 to 2022 have started reversing course to secondary markets. What it's like. Living in Phoenix as a retiree is like dating someone unbelievably sunny who keeps avoiding the conversation about the water bill and the AC costs. Picture this. You're a 68-year-old Phoenix retiree in 2026. You moved from Minnesota in 2021 for the affordability and warmth. Your home value has dropped roughly 7%. Your electric bill in July was $580. Your insurance climbed 22% in 2 years. You're researching cooler retirement destinations for the second time in 3 years. Where it gets uncomfortable. Phoenix's structural problem is the convergence of climate intensity, water uncertainty, and home value decline against retirees who relocated specifically for affordability. The summers got longer. The water got scarcer. The home values dropped. The retirees who arrived in 2021 are doing math they never expected. Sharp contrast. Phoenix and Charlotte are both retirement destinations. Charlotte has absorbed Phoenix retirement reversal migration. Phoenix has been the source of the migration Charlotte has absorbed. Number 2. Tampa, Florida. The cigar city where insurance premiums separated from fixed retirement incomes, where property tax bills have climbed alongside reassessments, and where the retirement outmigration to inland North Carolina has been sustained. There's a city where home insurance premiums have climbed among the highest rates in America, where property tax bills have climbed alongside pandemic-era reassessments, where retirement outmigration to inland North Carolina has been sustained, and where the retirement migration model that anchored the city has reversed. Welcome to Tampa. The numbers. Tampa home insurance premiums have climbed among the highest rates in America. Tampa property tax bills climbed alongside pandemic-era reassessments. Tampa retirement outmigration to inland North Carolina has been sustained. Tampa retirement migration model that anchored the city has reversed. What it's like. Living in Tampa as a retiree is like dating someone charming whose insurance premium keeps arriving with new numbers nobody planned for. Picture this. You're a 74-year-old Tampa retiree in 2026. Your insurance premium climbed 60% over 3 years. Your property tax bill climbed alongside reassessment cycles. Your friend moved to Asheville in 2023. Your daughter is researching Chapel Hill for you. Where it gets uncomfortable. Tampa's structural problem is that the insurance carrier pressure and property tax climbs have compressed retiree budgets that were built for pre-pandemic carrying costs. The insurance climbs. The property tax climbs. The retirement carrying costs have separated from fixed incomes. Sharp contrast. Tampa and Asheville tell 2 stories. Asheville has absorbed Tampa retirement migration. Tampa has been the source of the migration. Asheville has absorbed. Number 1. Miami, Florida. The Magic City, where Miami-Dade County recorded the worst high flood risk domestic outflow in America, where average insurance premiums reached the highest in the country, and where the retirement migration model that built modern Miami has reversed. There's a metropolitan area where Miami-Dade County recorded a domestic outflow of 67,418 residents in 2024, where average home insurance premiums reached $7,562 in 2026, where the Miami-Dade condo market shed $109 billion in value in a single month, where condo special assessments have produced six-figure bills, and where the retirement outflow to the Carolinas has been the most extensively documented in America. Welcome to Miami. The numbers. Miami-Dade County recorded a domestic outflow of 67,418 residents in 2024 per Redfin. Miami average home insurance premium reached $7,562 in 2026, the highest in America. Miami-Dade condo inventory hit 14.1 months in 2025. Miami Metro lost an estimated $109 billion in home value in a single month in 2025. Miami condo special assessments post-Surfside reforms have produced six-figure bills. Reddit quote, "Miami is the city where the retirement dream became the retirement math problem, and the retirees who could reverse course started making the plans in earnest." What it's like. Living in Miami as a retiree is like dating someone who looked perfect on the brochure and turned out to have structural deficiencies and a credit card statement they didn't disclose. Picture this. You're a 71-year-old Miami-Dade retiree in 2026. You moved from Connecticut in 2018. Your insurance premium tripled between 2020 and 2025. Your HOA assessment after Hurricanes Helene and Milton was $14,000. Your home value is down 7% from 2022. Your daughter is researching North Carolina for you. You're not arguing. Where it gets uncomfortable. Miami's structural problem is the full convergence of every major retirement migration reversal factor in a single metropolitan area. The climate risk was reassessed. The insurance carriers repriced or exited. The condo mandates produced six-figure assessments. The retirement migration model that built modern Miami has reversed. The result is 67,418 domestic outflow in a single year. Sharp contrast. Miami and Charlotte are both southeast metros. Charlotte has absorbed Miami retirement migration in significant volume since 2024. Miami has been the source of the migration Charlotte has absorbed. So there it is. American cities' retirees are leaving in record numbers on the public record in Census Bureau Vintage 2025 estimates, in Redfin flood risk migration data, in Insurance.com carrier filings, in Truth in Accounting's Financial State of the Cities 2026 report. Cities where insurance and property tax carrying costs have separated from fixed retirement incomes. Cities where climate risk has been reassessed. Cities where the retirement migration model that anchored the city has reversed. Cities where retirees are leaving for lower-cost secondary markets or children's cities. The American cities where retirees are moving in 2026 share specific characteristics. They have functional insurance markets, moderated cost of living, growing economic bases, and infrastructure that supports aging in place. The 10 cities on this list have varying combinations of opposite conditions. The insurance climbed. The property tax climbed. The healthcare climbed. The retirees who could leave left. If this list helped, share it with the retiree in your life who keeps insisting they can afford to stay. Hit subscribe, because next we're breaking down 10 American cities where the property tax bill just doubled. Drop a comment if you or your parents are considering leaving your retirement city. And remember, the worst retirement migration reversal isn't the loud one with the headlines. It's the quiet one, where the insurance bill arrives, the property tax notice follows, and the retiree who did the math left before anyone announced the reversal.